Hi guys, MrDr. Logic here, and today I'm going to show you a question that literally mind-fucked me in 7 different ways that which no one could understand, okay? Literally, we went over a lecture, we did all the good stuff. I just can't, like, right now, because, like, when presented with this question in class, okay, no one knew what the fuck was going on, including the professor. We had to cheat, we had to figure shit out. We still don't know how to answer this question, and I'm going to take this upon myself to answer this question on everyone's behalf, because no one has a clue, no one has what's going on, and I'm going to give you all the necessary tools you need to solve a question like this, because this is straight up ass. Okay? So for some background information, okay, to answer even remotely a question like this, we need to know the difference between linked genes and unlinked genes, okay? Basically, linked genes and unlinked genes, the main difference is whether the linked genes affect presentability or like representation of that gene or not. So does that gene show up, and to what extent, like the frequency. You're going to see later in an example how linked genes work. If the genes are unlinked, you're going to see a 50-50 chance, okay? If it's not, then you're going to see that recombination genes are unfavored and parental genes are favored superbly, like 99% to 1%. Or in some cases, like we saw in that discussion question, close to 50%. To give you a better idea, linked genes have to be neighbors. They have to be very close to each other. Like you have neighbors, the house to your right, the house to your left. It can't be like a non-linked gene, like this specific one, okay, like this one. It can't be like some guy that lives way over yonder, but you still live in the same neighborhood. Like that doesn't count. And it can't be like you're in like a house A and someone lives at house K. Like those are not linked. Don't even try it. Okay? Now, to give you a real life example, now you've probably seen some version of this with flies. Actually, we're going to have flies fuck. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You're going to see parentals overrepresented, and the recombinants don't even matter. Like, they legit don't even matter. Now, you see here that these, this is actually a very good representation of what this looks like, okay? The female is one, like there is only one, like what can be used, and then there's the male. Actually, I want the male, female, fuck that. Yeah, and male, female, you can tell I'm organized. Okay, the female, like the male is very consistent, and we're gonna see all the possibilities with the male and female, and we can see that one version of the female gene, another version of all 4 combinations have been explored, and we are given all the data, and we have to figure out what goes where. Now you're gonna see that this is more unlinked. This is linked, unlinked. Let me tell you again. Look how big these numbers are compared to this. This is 300, this is like over 2,000. And then there's this, 25, 25, 25, fuck that, okay? Ignore all that shit. So now, moving on, you gotta know that there is the cock, okay? Actually, you know what? We don't need the cock. We don't need the cock. I'm pretty confident you guys can solve a question like this, okay? You can step aside and do this question for fun. Now, when you start to think of heterozygous, get pretty used to the idea that this and this are not the same as this. Why is my mouse having hiccups? And this. Okay. So yeah, take some time, pause the video, answer this question. Okay, I'm assuming now you have already answered this question. I've just jumped right ahead. And now the answer, just by looking at this, C and D are the furthest apart, so we'll just have C over here, D over here. We notice that A and C are pretty much the same distance. We'll middle that right here. And we see that A is the closest to B, so it's got to be close around here or here. And it's close to C. And since the difference between the two is like the addition of this, we'll put B sort of here-ish. The distance between B and D is never mentioned, so this is fine. And if you choose to answer it like this, tab C, that's totally fine. The order doesn't matter. You have to get comfortable with the idea that this is going to become a frequent occurrence. Now, to do a question like this, you gotta get the shit clear, okay? First, we have to know females, heterozygous, 3 autosomal genes with males, autosomal recessive. Okay, so we literally have this example, except with 1 or 2, we have 3 motherfuckers, okay? So get used to the idea of genes looking like this. But with our problem here, we have 3 of them, okay? So pretty quickly we can figure out who the father is. We're just gonna call G, C, S, okay? Small g, small c, small s. The reason for small g, small c, small f, s, fuck, is because it's autosomal recessive. Otherwise, it won't show under any other conditions. Now, I have no clue for the mother, okay? But looking at this and what we were just talking about in terms of linked genes, the parentals completely destroy the recombinant RF. So with this knowledge, we can say that the whole body, glassy eye, striped thorax, are the parental. They're the most likely that are going to show up, and this is going to be our biggest hint to figure out the mother, because there's no other way we're going to solve this question otherwise. Okay, so we know that the mother's whole body, and then G, C, oh shoot, S. If you're confused as bloody hell what I'm doing, basically, I'm having the mother versus the father. So this is basically what's happening to create this specific offspring. And we're going to do the same thing for this specific offspring. And so now that we have GCS, big G, big S, we can say that this is technically autosomal recessive, and this would give us the whole body. So this has to be one version of the mother gene. Now we have the second version of the mother gene. We can obviously tell what that is. And since we have been blatantly given that it is heterozygous, it would be small g, big C, small s, and then G, C, S, again, mother, father, these two combine. And then we have now figured out who the mother is, or what the mother's genotype looks like. And the reason this is important is because, like, if you had done the activity earlier with CBAD, and you're going to have to get pretty used to the idea that now with heterozygous, which side which is on matters, and what it can no longer be this anymore. We don't know which side is which, and this matters a lot. Get the idea out of your head. Side on which it is on matters a lot. And with this knowledge going forward, we have to determine the correct order that the mother's genes are aligned. The father doesn't matter. The father is the control. This is specifically why we're given autosomal recessive, okay? Before I continue any further into what I would call order 1, we have to know something like I neglected mentioning earlier about the cock. So in order to determine the cock, you would have observed number of whatever the hell that means, divided by the expected number of whatever the hell that means. And if you ever get an instance where it's equal to 1 or 0, well, I know if it's 0, it didn't happen, okay? Happen. In our case, it didn't happen, but the probability is never 0. So in our case, we technically have glassy eyes. That has not happened yet. You will not see an example. We'll just call it small g. Class 0. And we'll just call this coal. These possibilities have never happened. How do I know this? We are dealing with technically 3 genes. And 2 to the power of 3 is 8. So there's supposed to be technically 8 unique combinations, but we technically only have 6, ignoring the 0. This means that the recombinant should not happen. And in order for it to happen to the mother specifically, there's going to have to be a double switcher in order for class or coal and stripe together for them to occur. This knowledge is going to come in handy when we're determining order 2 and what to avoid for order 1. Order 1 is going to be trial and error because we want to determine what order these genes go in, since it's very possible, like we saw in that previous example with the activity, where it's C bad and not A, B, C, D. So this is what we're doing in order 1. We're figuring out what order the genes go in. So we're going to take the mother's genes, because this is the one we're confused with. Okay, now that we are in order 1, what we're going to do is we're going to take our mother, okay? So this is bottom, okay? This is basically the less exciting version of porn with female on female action. We're literally going to have the G and the S combination cross over. We're going to really test if C is a worthy center. The reason we want to do this is because the center is important. This will determine whether or not the two go together or not, because it should not be fuckety, okay? So we're going to try... Now we're just going to flip the 2, because determining the center is pretty important, especially for a 3. much less a 4. Fuck the 4, man. If we got 4, I'm gonna kill myself. Okay, so we have combination number 1, okay, with female and female action, alright? I gotta stop saying that. As you will notice, only the G has moved, and then I'm gonna put over here where only the S will move. Okay, now as you can see here, that we have one combination of C, G, C, S. Do we have... Okay, we got that, so that's 8. And we have big G, big C, and then small s, which is striped body alone. That's 11. Good. Okay, now do we have... Oh, wait, that's our 0. And that's our other 0. Hang on. Glass only is our other 0. Wait. Okay, so C is not a middle. Okay, C cannot be middle. Okay, now let's try G, because we want to be absolutely sure that it can't be G either. So basically, I did this off camera, but basically you can see me do the same thing here, that the C's have been switched. And we literally get the wild type, which is 27. And then the other one, which is GC, that's 29. And then again, we get CGS, which is the same combination as this, 0 and 0. So G, not middle as well. So through process of elimination, S has to be our middle. And so what do we get? We have, and we're gonna do the combination of these two, different combinations. So we're only gonna have the C switch spots. And then we're gonna have the other one. We're just switching the G's now, and wow, that conveniently worked. Okay, so now we have determined S is middle, and that works perfectly because of that weird combination. Why did we do things this way? Basically, the middle was the easiest way to eliminate things, and I'm going to show you order 2, which is quicker. And because now that we have determined things this way, now we have to do it like the bad way. We have to determine how far away are these bad boys from each other, okay? And it's nothing too much, alright? There's nothing too much about this. All you gotta do... Now, technically, it doesn't matter which order it's in. It could... Regardless, you're going to get the same 2 combinations depending on which you flip, and that is important on where that goes. And because we flipped the G in this example, it is gonna technically be 8 plus 11 over 1,000, which is equal to 19 over 1,000. Okay, you listen. Not the best of handwriting, but you get the idea. 1.9%. And then we do the same thing here. That's 56 over 1K. That's technically 1K. Draw an arrow to that. Then this becomes 5.6. And all of this becomes 7.5%. And there you go. You have the final answer. Now, the way I did it was the long way, and the short and easy version of this is just knowing that the mothers, this is order 2, and I prefer order 2 because without doing order 1, which was pretty much trial and error, we wouldn't have known how to do it. Okay, so order 1 we have to be familiar with, which was, and if we compare it to the mother's type, flipping the S would have given us our recombinant, and because this was the case, or our double recombinants, S would obviously be our middle, because it would give us our double combinants. These technically have 0, 0 combination if we go all the way back up. And through process of elimination, we can see that the S has swapped, giving us this possibility. So it didn't matter on which end that the S was in. It could have been on the left or the right. This would have been the resulting outcome. Because we have things like this, S had to be in the middle. So this is why I prefer order 2. As always, hopefully this cleared any confusion. Please like, share, subscribe, comment if you have any questions. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.